yeah. We learn by doing. And so the cash flow board game, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the only book that covered the three financial statements: income statement, balance sheet, statement of cash flow. Those are the three things that count. And so when I walk into my banker today, like in 2008, when the whole thing collapsed with Lehman, and by the way, I was on CNN speaking to Wolf Blitzer saying Lehman was going down.
Wow.
So I called that one because you could see it coming. And so I was on Lehman and I called it coming down and all this stuff. But it's just a matter of teaching. All we have to do is teach. But the teachers' unions are in the way. And my poor dad, guess what he was head of? Teachers' union. People can ask me, how did my wife, she was 37, I was 47 when we retired. So how'd you guys do it? And we couldn't explain it to them because most people went to school. They learned, go to school, get a job, work hard, save money, get out of debt, and invest for the long term in the stock market. I do none of that. I don't have to do any of that. So anyway, we created the cash flow board game. It's because Maria Montessori was one of the great educational entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
She says, what the hand does, the mind remembers. Now think about this. Could you learn to play golf reading a book? But that's what our schools are trying to do. So my wife and I in 1996 first created the cash flow board game to teach the financial statement. The single most boring subject in school is accounting. It's horrible. So we made it fun. We made it a game and all this. So income, expense, assets, liabilities, cash flow. Those are three main financial statements in a financial statement. Income statement, which is income, expense, balance sheet, asset, liability, and third, a statement of cash flow. That's what the game is called, cash flow. So I think he hasn't agreed to it, but the DeSantis is considering using our board game to teach financial education. Wow. Because kids like to play with games. I did.
Yeah.
I hated lecture. I hated it.
How cool. Are you going to get a little, you get a little residual on that or what?
Of course.
You're a capitalist. I mean, come on.
Make it what a Deng Xiaoping saying, get rich is glorious. I agree with him. He's a communist, but I agree with him.
It's not bad. Do you happen to remember there was a game back when I was a kid? So this was on the Apple IIc before the Mac or the MacBook or any of that. There was a game on Apple IIc called Lemonade Stand. And that's what it was. You were running a little lemonade stand. There were no graphics. It told you the weather and how much sugar maybe you should buy and how many people were out on the street. And I learned a lot from that, actually.
Yeah. We learn by doing. And so the cash flow board game, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the only book that covered the three financial statements: income statement, balance sheet, statement of cash flow. Those are the three things that count. And so when I walk into my banker today, like in 2008, when the whole thing collapsed with Lehman, and by the way, I was on CNN speaking to Wolf Blitzer saying Lehman was going down.
Wow.
So I called that one because you could see it coming. And so I was on Lehman and I called it coming down and all this stuff. But it's just a matter of teaching. All we have to do is teach. But the teachers' unions are in the way. And my poor dad, guess what he was head of? Teachers' union. And if you study Marx, his words were, workers of the world unite. And my father and my rich dad, I was like 15 or 16, his workers were going to go on strike in Hawaii. And rich dad called me and says, would you mind coming to maintain one of our desks for us at night? So I said, sure. So I went down and helped my rich dad out by just be a kid, managing the desk so tourists could check in and out. And I got home and my poor dad gave me hell. He says, you're a scab.
Wow.
I never saw it like that. I was just helping a friend out. But the teachers union, as you know, they're as Marxist as they come. Workers of the world unite. So that's all in Capitalist Manifesto. They're just quotes. They're just quotes from Stalin, Marx, Mao, and all those guys. We were warned, but nobody paid attention.
So what do you think the first step in reversing that is? If you were talking to if there's a 21-year-old watching this show that's on the fence, maybe they just got out of school, although I know you would say they don't have to go to school in the first place. But let's say they're 21, they're trying to figure out what they're going to do, where they're going to live, what kind of life they want. But they've been indoctrinated with a certain amount of that stuff. What's the first way we can get these people, do you think?
I think the first thing to do is question the indoctrination. As Thomas Sowell, from Stanford says, it's not education, it's indoctrination. Go to school. What do you learn about money? Nothing. Get a job. Who pays the highest taxes? Workers. Pay your taxes. Rich don't pay taxes. Get out of debt. I'm $1 billion in debt because in 1971, when Nixon took the dollar off the gold standard, I said, thank you, Jesus. I'm going to borrow my ass off now and invest in the stock market. I don't invest in the stock market. I'm not saying you shouldn't. But having a rich dad and having financial education, understanding financial statements, understanding cash flow gave me freedom that most people will never have because they've been indoctrinated. Go to school, get a job, work hard, save money, pay taxes, get out of debt, and invest in the stock market. I don't do any of those things because I don't have to.
Do you think there's a unique moment for people to follow your path right now? Because so many people kind of don't trust the system right now. They see that, they can just print money, money's worth less. None of this really makes sense. There are no balance sheets. So more people might be willing to do some of the non-traditional things that you've been doing for 30 years. Well, way more than 30 years, actually.
Well, I think you said it earlier, 10 years ago, we couldn't do this. There wasn't the Zoom, there wasn't any of this. This iPhone here is the most powerful entrepreneur tool I ever saw in my whole life. I can text anybody in the world today. I can go on YouTube, but you got your own podcast. It's so powerful. But if your brain isn't a capitalist brain, you use it to watch kiddie porn or whatever people do today. You know what I mean? It's like, it's also destroying our society, this iPhone. That's my concern. So that's why, I like Trump and DeSantis, and I'm voting for financial education because that's where capitalism begins. Capitalism gives us more freedom, and that's all I fight for, freedom. When COVID came out, they took away our freedom of speech. Now they're going to take away our Second Amendment, the guns, disarm the police, whatever they're talking about, defund the police. It's all Marx. As Mao says, politics comes with the barrel of a gun. It's all there. It's in this book here. It's all. Let me read you what Nikita Khrushchev said in 1959. Your children's children will live under communism. You Americans are so gullible. No, you won't accept communism overnight, but we will keep feeding you small doses of socialism until you will finally wake up and find out you already have communism. That's what we're finding out today, Dave. We already are communists. We will not have to fight you. We will so weaken your economy until you fall like overripe fruit into our hands. Nikita Khrushchev, September 29th, 1959. And I don't know, Jim Records just made an announcement that the Biden just signed into executive order something that CBDC, central bank digital currency, are now 100% communists. Biden just signed it on March 6, 2022. We're officially communist now because he took control of our money. Central bank digital currency is a spy system. It's spyware. It'll control our entire lives. So I would check out Jim Records. He's a good friend of mine, one of the smartest guys I know. But today we must be cautious who our sources of information are, as you know. And Jim Records is on the pulse of it right now. Central bank digital currency is 100% communist.
If you're looking for more honest and thoughtful conversations about politics instead of nonstop yelling, check out our politics playlist. And if you want to watch full interviews on a variety of topics, watch our full episode playlist all right over here. And to get notified of all future videos, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell.